Now we're good.
Hello, SacramentoComedy.com. Thank you for coming to our site again. We are here this week with Mr. Bruce Baum.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Pretty good, but how about you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
All right. Well, he just performed here in Davis, the Bistro 33, every first and third Tuesday.
I only did it once. I'm not going to do it every first.
Oh. Well,
I've been to Detroit, Bora Bora, and back, and the most beautiful people are right here in Davis, California.
Sure, you went to school here?
Sacramento. I went to school here.
That's right. What was your degree in, by the way?
Political science. I actually started doing comedy, and what I would do is I would run, this is honest to goodness truth, I would run into the library and blow a horn or hit a tub bass, and everybody would stop, and I would do 3 or 4 minutes of jokes, and then I would run away. And then I would write a letter to the paper saying there's a guy running into the library and making everybody laugh while we're trying to study. Mm-hmm. And there were no clubs, so every time I found a captive audience, I performed and ran away.
Where are some of the places that you performed? Did you ever go into Sacramento and perform?
Yes, and I also, back in those days, was also doing some folk singing. So I was in Sacramento. I did a place, I don't know if anybody here remembers the old Red Ice Mining Company. I did that. But here in Davis, for those of you that can cast your memories back, The Graduate. I think I was the first comic to ever play The Graduate. I performed in front of the jukebox on the dance floor. Nobody was dancing at the time, but. And then a place called the Wood Nickel, MacArthur Park, and this is where I got it all started. It was right here in Davis. Call it whimsy, call it wanderlust. I call it sassy and conventional. Back in those days, we would put Wesson oil on our tongue so our mouths would know what it was like to be a kitchen floor at a fraternity party. Those were the days.
All right. Next question. Mm-hmm. Serious question. I don't know. Tonight, I'd seen your act. Grew up watching you, actually. Your act, and you're still doing a lot of prop comedy, and I'm just curious about that. You know, like nowadays you don't see a lot of prop comics, and
it's funny how a lot of comics knock prop comedy,
right. And
then when they become a host of a show, and we won't say which ones they are, they got nothing but props. They open up with look at this and look at that. They're all prop comics. You know, I kind of like to do the show that I would want to see, a little bit of everything. You know, I consider myself, coming to see me is more than talking to someone, but less than a movie. But you know, the people that knock props are the same people that watch television and go, I can't believe there's a desk in this scene. What is that? You know, what is a desk? They've got bookshelves. I just figure if it comes into your head and you can think of something funny, it's blasphemous not to throw it out there and let people decide whether you're going to do it again. So if they don't like the prop or they don't laugh, I don't do it again. But I used to be nothing but props. It used to be everything was a prop, and now it was funny. There was a time when nobody wanted props on their TV shows. So I would go on back in the old days and do shows. If you got a memory, the Merv Griffin show and Mike Douglas show. And I remember showing up without props. One show I showed up, I just wanted to do stand-up so everybody can see I do stand-up. The first thing was, where's your props? I go, I thought you guys don't like props. Well, you got to have props. All right, they're in the trunk. I'll look at the props.
Just in case.
So yeah, but I enjoy doing stand-up also. So I try to, where I used to be all props, now I try to mix and match props, music, and I've got that new album out, Bruce Baum's Only Hits Volume 7. I believe the album's already gone black. We shipped vinyl.
Almost aluminum, I hear. That's close to.
Go ahead.
So did you ever, this doesn't have to be on camera, but we'll ask you. So being that, you know, Gallagher prop comic back in the same, you guys in the same generation.
We were friends, we started out together, yeah.
Yeah, any friendly, healthy competition? Who could out-prop each other or prop off?
No, not really. No, Gallagher and I are friends. We've known each other since we both started, you know, so, you know, our stuff's always been friends. I would be asking monologists if they didn't like each other because they, you know, there's not that many prop comics. And, you know, I don't think there's that many good boy, did your ears just fuck up? There's not that many good ones, you know, but some guys get better. But it's like anything else, like monology or guys that do nothing but musical parodies, you know. People get better, some are good, some aren't. So I just enjoy doing it because, like I said, if I think of it, I've got to do it, you know.
Right.
So.
So tell us about your movie ventures. Tell us about Letters from a Nut.
Well, I wrote some books called Letters from a Nut and 2 sequels. The Letters from a Nut book has been translated into Japanese, Portuguese. There's a version in England, but they didn't have to translate. And then there was 2 sequels. That has sold like 500,000 in hardcover. And then the sequel is More Letters from a Nut. And then there's another one called Even Nuttier, Even More Letters from a Nut. And Jerry Seinfeld wrote forwards on the first 2 and a backwards on the last one. And it's basically letters we wrote to companies and to different people, famous, with ridiculous requests, and their answers back. I think a lot of times they wrote back because they didn't want this. We wrote under the pen name Ted Nancy. So people that have the book and think Ted Nancy wrote it, it's me and this other guy. And we didn't, I think a lot of companies wrote back as if we don't want this guy showing up. Let's just write him and get it over with. So right now I've written a new book that hopefully you'll be seeing on the shelves soon or Kindled, and it's called On Hold. I only wrote it when I was on hold, so I used to get furious being on hold on the phone, so I tried to do a little therapy. So some of them are really quick thoughts and some of them are longer stories. So there's one story on there that probably people from this area might relate to. It's called The Farting Mimes of Calaveras County. So that's in the book. That's my personal favorite in the book. But then there's also a lot of quick little thoughts, and then there's other stories. There's stories that I wrote that happened in the future.
Cool.
To look back on the past.
Nice. So what was your favorite room playing in Modesto?
They had a Holiday Inn gig that to this day I still dream about. I have to send the laundry out the next morning.
There you go.
It's
You had a limo, I heard, pick you up and take you around.
A limo, and I think, and we actually sold a couple. I had a movie out called The Adventures of Baby Man, which, by the way, if I may be so bold, and I'm going to be,
You may.
I've got a website called theouternet.com. Don't forget the. It's theouternet.com. It's the most fun your face can legally have by itself. So if you go to the front page, a lot of these comedy sites are all cluttered and there's just all sorts of stuff. We have 5 or 6 videos on the front page. And then you can go inside and we have some episodes of Dimples the Cow and Bruce. It's like Lassie, only I've got a cow. And The Adventures of Baby Man is running in segments. The first, I think, 3 chapters are on there now. If you go to the main page and look on the left-hand side, it's the series that we run, that the Outernet has. And if you press more outer, you can become a nut. It's like MySpace, only instead of a friend, you're a nut. So you can either have a profile page and become a nut, and most people just watch the videos. They don't socialize that much on the site. We just like to have fun. And or you can just put your email on the main page, and we protect that email with somebody else's life. And we give you a little update once every week or 2 with direct links to the funniest stuff.
Nice.
Great.